I was not born enlightened. I was born restless, consumed by invisible hungers that no amount of pleasure could satisfy. The modern world fed my eyes, but starved my soul, and I moved through it like a man chasing shadows in the sun. Every screen, every glance, every promise of fleeting warmth whispered to me that fulfillment was near. Yet every indulgence left me emptier than before. I began to suspect that I was leaking something greater than time, that my very essence was being siphoned away through the cracks of unguarded desire. It began the day I looked into the mirror and saw not a man, but a fragment, drained, dulled, and directionless. My vitality had thinned like smoke in a storm. That night, I dreamed of standing before a golden river that pulsed with radiant life. It moved not like water, but like energy. Intelligent, aware, divine. I reached out, but each time I tried to grasp it, it slipped through my fingers, flowing back into the void. A voice in the dream whispered, "You have forgotten how to hold yourself." When I awoke, I knew that dream was not fantasy. It was a reflection of the truth that I had been pouring my essence into the sands of indulgence. The journey began quietly, without ceremony. I decided to withhold, not as an act of denial, but as an act of remembrance. The first few days were chaos. My mind was a battlefield where old habits fought for dominance. The body, accustomed to instant relief, rebelled. Yet beneath the turbulence, something ancient stirred. A dormant current of energy coiled deep within my spine, humming faintly like the sound of an awakening god. I realized that semen retention was not about suppression, it was about direction. The ancients called this energy Oyas, Chi, Kundalini, names for the same sacred fire. Science calls it bioelectric vitality, the electromagnetic field generated by cellular coherence. When conserved, it amplifies. When wasted, it dissipates into entropy. I began to understand that every thought, every emotion, and every act of will either strengthens or weakens this current. The human body is a vessel designed to refine raw instinct into higher consciousness. My lust was not an enemy. It was the raw material for transcendence. In the weeks that followed, I became more aware of subtle sensations, a warmth rising from the base of my spine, a quiet electricity in my veins. My focus sharpened, my eyes brightened, and my presence deepened. People noticed it before I did. Strangers made eye contact longer. Conversations carried more gravity. It was as though the world itself responded to this reawakened frequency. Desire had not disappeared, it had transformed, becoming a river that nourished instead of drowned me. But the test came when temptation returned in full force. One evening, I met a woman whose beauty was magnetic, her eyes deep as twilight. The old current within me surged with primal hunger. Every cell screamed to release, to surrender, to lose myself. But I remembered the golden river, that divine current that had once slipped through my fingers. So I breathed deeply and allowed the energy to rise instead of spill. I saw her not as an object of lust, but as an embodiment of life's creative power, the same energy I sought to master. In that moment, attraction became reverence. The transformation was not immediate. Retention brought both agony and ecstasy. The body, like a crucible, had to withstand its own fire. There were nights when my dreams burned with desire so vivid that I awoke trembling. But with each restraint came refinement. The fire that once consumed me now illuminated me. I began to realize that semen retention was an inner alchemy, the art of turning the base metal of lust into the gold of awareness. One morning, as I meditated, I felt the current surge upward from the root to the crown, a golden light spiraling through my spine. It was not imagination. It was life itself reclaiming its rightful throne within me. In that instant, I understood why sages called it the serpent fire. It was divine consciousness awakening within the human frame. The bliss was not carnal. It was cosmic. I felt connected to everything, to the wind, the trees, the pulse of existence itself. In the days that followed, my perception of reality shifted. The world appeared sharper, more alive. Every sound had texture, every moment had depth. My mind was no longer scattered, but still, and in that stillness, insights arose effortlessly. I saw how modern men, blinded by constant stimulation, were trading divine power for trivial pleasure. The digital age had become a vampire of vitality, draining the very force that could elevate us into creators. I vowed never to be drained again. Discipline became my sanctuary. I learned to channel the rising current through movement, creation, and service. I trained my body like a temple, lifting, breathing, focusing not to conquer others but to master myself. Every workout was a ritual, every breath a reminder that power without purpose is chaos. The same energy that once fueled lust now fueled purpose, clarity, and unshakable drive. I began to understand the science behind the sacred. Retained energy rewires neural pathways, boosts dopamine sensitivity, and harmonizes hormonal balance. The body, once enslaved by desire, becomes a generator of divinity. Months passed, and I felt the golden current flow effortlessly. It no longer demanded control. It demanded alignment. The more I aligned with truth, the more energy flowed. Thoughts became creative blueprints. Emotions became instruments of transformation. What was once lust became inspiration. What was once tension became strength. What was once chaos became rhythm. But the world did not make it easy. Temptations came dressed in light images, fantasies, endless distractions, whispering, "Just one time." Yet each time I stood firm, I grew stronger. I began to see desire as a test, not a trap. The modern man's challenge is not lack of opportunity, but lack of mastery. Semen retention taught me that the battlefield is not out there. It is within, between the higher and lower self, between eternity and impulse. One evening, during a thunderstorm, I stood at my window and felt the lightning echo within me. I realized that nature mirrors the inner man. The same force that lights the sky flows within the veins of the disciplined. When you retain your essence, you become a conductor of this cosmic electricity. The golden current does not merely sustain you, it transforms you into a vessel of divine expression. Soon, creative visions flooded my mind, art, ideas, words, possibilities. The mind became fertile ground for higher inspiration. Retained desire is not dormant, it is redirected. It becomes innovation, intuition, and illumination. I wrote, I created, I inspired others. Not because I sought validation, but because the energy within me demanded expression. I had become a channel, not a consumer. And then came the realization that semen retention is not the goal. It is the path to integration. The true mastery lies in balance, in uniting the primal with the spiritual, the flesh with the flame. To retain without love is repression. To release without awareness is waste. The golden current teaches harmony to circulate energy through the body, through the heart, through creation itself, until every breath becomes prayer. I began to meet others on the same path, men who sought more than pleasure, who longed to reclaim their lost kingship. We shared stories, disciplines, failures, and victories. Together, we forged a brotherhood of awakened men, each glowing with an invisible fire. We understood now that semen retention was not abstinence. It was ascension, the act of rising beyond animal impulse into divine sovereignty. As months became years, I noticed the deeper fruits of the journey. My intuition sharpened. I could sense energy in others. My speech carried conviction. My presence, peace. People could feel it before I spoke. The resonance of coherence, the calm of contained fire. I had become magnetic not because I sought attention, but because I had aligned with truth. In meditation, I saw again the golden river from my dream, but this time, I did not reach for it. I realized it was flowing through me. The current I had once chased had always been within. Every act of restraint, every breath of awareness, had carved a path for it to flow freely. The divine was never separate. It was the unexpressed potential of my own being. Science will tell you this is hormonal balance, dopamine recalibration, or improved energy metabolism. Philosophy will call it virtue, discipline, or willpower. Spirituality will name it awakening, enlightenment, or divine union. But they all point to the same truth. When man learns to hold his seed, he learns to hold his world. The same energy that creates life can recreate the soul. Now, when I look at the world, I see men asleep, giving away their golden current for moments of pleasure, unaware of the kingdom they could build within. I do not judge them, for I was one of them. But I speak to those ready to rise, those who feel the quiet ache for purpose, the pull toward greatness. To them, I say begin. For the golden current awaits those who can endure the fire of transformation. There is no guru, no shortcut, no external savior. The power you seek is already inside you, waiting for discipline to awaken it. Each moment of restraint is a spark. Each act of awareness is a flame. Feed it, guard it, and soon it will blaze into a sun that guides your destiny. This is the real transmutation when desire becomes devotion and lust becomes light. I am no longer the man who sought pleasure to feel alive. I am the man through whom life itself seeks expression. The golden current now flows endlessly from thought to action, from breath to creation. I have become both the river and the shore, both the fire and the form. And in that union, I have found peace. So I walk this world not as one who has conquered desire, but as one who has befriended it. For within desire lies the blueprint of divinity, a force that, when retained and refined, becomes the very current of creation. This is the essence of semen retention. Not to deny your nature, but to refine it until it mirrors the cosmos itself. And as I close my eyes each night, I feel the golden current flow, steady, serene, sovereign. It is no longer just energy. It is consciousness in motion. It is the philosopher's gold, the divine spark, the eternal flame. And I know, with every pulse of that radiant current, that I have returned to the source, the sacred union of purity and power. Now, before you go channel that incredible energy, you know the drill. Hit that like button to send a signal to the algorithm. And if you haven't yet joined the movement, smash subscribe right now. I want to know where the power is flowing from. So drop your location in the comments below. And for those deep questions and direct access, our Telegram channel is where the real growth happens. The link to join our inner circle is waiting for you in the description. Go be a force. Share this with one person who needs this fire today. Have a powerful day.